Virtual Academy, and let's get into it. We're going to start off with a couple of updates, and I'm going to send this on over here. And here we go. And right away, we're going to go to Schoology, and I think this is where I'm going to start most days from here on out, is just kind of giving updates, reminding people of what's going on, what's coming up, where they need to be on deadlines. And taking a look at this, just kind of zooming in here. Okay, tomorrow, Wednesday, we have the moving platforms that are due for digital media. So if I mouse over this, you can kind of see what's going on, hopefully. But those Digital Media 2 moving platforms are due for the game design unit. Make sure that you are working on those. We'll be talking about them today. And then the YouTube Carousel, that's for the web design, and make sure that we're working on that. And then finally, not finally, but we've got the final game build that's in progress throughout this entirety of the week, the entirety of this week, and that's for game design. And then the Stinger Pack is another work in progress throughout the week for Digital Media 1. And finally, throughout the week, video production students are working on creating a vlog of their life in quarantine. So we'll see what that looks like. But that's kind of the rundown of everything that's coming up here and all the due dates, just kind of giving you the up and up on what's going on here. All right, excellent. Well, we're going to hop out of this and we're going to get right into Digital Media 2. And I've had a number of questions, but before I get into the questions, I think it's worthwhile to take a look at some of these examples here of some of the games that people have put together. And the first one that I'm going to throw up here is going to be, let's see here. This is Grady's. Okay, and Grady's doing a great job of laying this all out. He's obviously in Digital Media 2. You can see that he's got his game over menu. He can restart the game. He can quit. He's got all those different features that are worked in there. That's very nice. Okay, moving on to the next one here. I love the sprite set on this. Very unique. We got the little dancing bear character. And then, or is it Sasquatch? I'm not sure what it is. But on this one, we've got Brian's, and he's demonstrating the game over menu as well. Okay, sending it over to Kellen. All right, Kellen is working on the menu, putting that together, and he's got his own little setup for all of this. You can see that he can hit the play button and go right into gameplay here. And he's got a nicely laid out level. It's looking really good. Okay, different things to interact with. You can see his health bar, and then he's got his try again. Excellent. All right, that takes us over to Trevor. Trevor is a former game design student. So this is old hat for him. You can see he's got a unique sprite set, and there's his menu. Okay, and then that takes us over to Madison. Okay, Madison's got a very artistic sense, and this level shows it. It's just nicely laid out. I think she does have double jump going on there, though. That's interesting. Okay, takes us over to Colin. Now, kind of a quick word about Colin here. Colin has like been Johnny on the spot with everything that's been game design for Digital Media 2 here. And the reason that he's been Johnny on the spot with all of this stuff is because, well, I've seen Colin pretty much every day on Google Meet, and he gets on there with any issues, any problems that he's got, and we work through all of that stuff on his game. So again, this is a good plug for me to you to hop onto Google Meet and take advantage of that resource. Walk through some of the things. I've been able to share script with him and basically just troubleshoot a lot of what's going on with this game. All right, so nice job, Colin. Been great. Last one we're going to wrap up with is Grady again. And this time Grady is showing the most recent assignment here, and that is the moving platforms. Once he gets to a moving platform here, it's got a lot going on. So here's your first moving platform. You can see he worked in his own custom sprite set for this, which looks very nice. Okay, he's got quite the level. He just keeps going down here for a while. Another moving platform. So once you get one of them set up, you can easily duplicate these into different places here. Oops, collider problem. Okay, and that's all looking great. Excellent. Well, then from here, that's going to take us over to a few of the common things that have come up with this particular lesson. Moving platforms, you've got a prefab and you've got a script. Those are in the description in the YouTube video, and you download those, bring those into your game. And one of the things you'll notice is that the sprites are missing on the prefab. That gives you a chance to move your own sprites in there. And let's hop over there to take a look. Okay, so you can see, and I'll put it into play here so you can see what's going on. All right, and I've got my moving platform moving sideways. You can see that in the game here, but you can also see in this view that I've got the traditional up and down one, and then I've got one moving sideways. Now for each of these, I swapped out the sprites. I only did this one time, and then I just duplicated the moving platform and then moved it into a new position here. So if I wanted to go through this process of swapping out the sprites, that would be the first place that I would start with you here today. Is first off, you'll notice, and I've been talking to a lot of people on Google Meet, my hierarchy, despite the amount of stuff that's actually in this level, you can see there's quite a bit of stuff going on in here. You can see the hierarchy is still manageable, and that's one of the notes that I would make to you is don't be afraid to go ahead and either click in the gray area down here and create empties, which are going to act like folders to organize everything. Or if you have no space whatsoever, I noticed a few people were struggling with this on Google Meet. I can always go up to the plus sign at the top of the hierarchy too, and I can go plus, create empty, and then let's say I wanted to organize all this cave business. I can come in here. I got a bunch of caves, stones, the cave foreground mask, all that kind of stuff. I can create this empty. I can go caves. Okay, and now I can just grab any one of these things here, and I can start dragging them into that folder. And then once I condense that down, you can see how much space that actually saves, and it helps me get organized. So anything that's caves related, I can go up here and I can take that. And that goes for anything, whether it's you can see that I've got my extra health. I've got that organized into its own empty. Okay, I've got these different alien artifacts, which are part of the sprite set that I'm using. Different doors, which will come up next in the game manager. I have different columns, but there's a lot that you can combine together here to make this a little bit more organized and more manageable for you so that you've got more room to work here. All right, so speaking of which, we're going to hop into the moving platforms one. And I'm going to click on this first one over here and just click on any one of the sprites so I can see where I'm at. Remember that the moving platform is made up of several things. It's got a position A, which has all the actual tiles in it, and that's what you'll be swapping out. And then it has the position B, which is where it's going to. So position A is the starting position. Position B is the other position that it's going to move to. So it'll move between those two back and forth. Excellent. All right, so if I want to duplicate this moving platform, let's just do this real quick so I can walk through this and point out two major things that people have issues with. First off, I'm going to just go Command D to duplicate it. Then I'm going to take it over here and just move it up so we can see what we're doing. I'm going to drop down position A so I can get to the tiles. Now these tiles, you can add color to them in the inspector to give them a unique look. So I added on these tiles, and then on top of that, what I did is over in the inspector, you can see that down in this area, I changed the color for this. So if I change that back, these are what the tiles look like by default. Okay, so I can switch those out and make them look different here depending on what tile set I use. Now if I don't want this grassy business going on here, I can completely swap out the sprite. So I can pick tile 12 here, and you can see over in my sprite renderer, this is the sprite that's currently being used right now. I'm going to go out, I'm going to grab a different sprite and bring that in there. And now you can see that it's got the stonework instead of the grass. Okay, and then if I want, I can always just add that color right back onto there so that it matches up with everything, and I can go through swapping these out. Now, one more thing with all of this, on position A, if you look over in the inspector, aside from the tiles being in there, we have some important stuff going on. We have the collider, which I edited the collider so that it fit my platform the way that I wanted, because I wanted him standing in the middle of the platform here so it looks like there's some depth to the actual level. Okay, that's the first thing that I did. Second thing, which is probably the biggest issue that I had yesterday with a number of people on Google Meet. This box collider is being used by an effector. Okay, and what an effector does is it allows you to actually jump up through the bottom and through the sides of the platform to some extent. So you can see this little arc here. This is the arc that's actually reacting to collision from my character. Okay, so if this were moving up and down, I could actually jump up through the bottom of this platform and land on it. So anytime you want that to happen and not have a hard collision from the bottom, you can add on an effector. So on my box collider, I just have used by effector, and then here's the important part. By default, I want to say that it had like platform and default maybe that was checked. And this is what it looked like when you first dragged in the prefab of the moving platform. And the problem is people are jumping on the platform and they're going right through it. So take the time here, come over to the platform effector, switch it up so that everything is being affected by it. So everything is going to have collision with it. It's going to interact with all that, which means your player as well. Okay, now last thing, if I hit play, this one's going to move exactly like the other one here, and it's going sideways. Okay, and I just need to adjust my position B so that if I move my position B so that it is perfectly lined up with the middle of my platform here, and I'm going to zoom in now so we can see what's going on. I put this into the middle of the platform, and now if I take that and I move it up, okay, starting position, stopping position, it'll go back and forth between these two. So now I should have, if I did this properly, I should have a platform that moves up and down there. Okay, and of course you can adjust the speed of these to increase difficulty or dramatic effect, whatever it is that you're looking for, and I can duplicate this now and use it in different areas. Okay, so you basically do the hard work once for the moving up and down platform, and then a second time for the side to side. Now I'm looking here, is there any other notes here that I have for you? I think that pretty much sums it up. That lays out the moving platforms. Again, that's due Wednesday. That's digital media. Make sure that you get that all taken care of and then turned in. Also, oh, one last thing, Gage, you've been a rock star on this unit, and Gage has had game design before. If you turn in a screen record, if you're recording your screen for the assignment, make sure that you're showing that whatever it is, whatever the feature is, that it actually works. So if you've got a moving platform, show that your character actually will land on it. Show that it's actually moving. So when you do that screen recording, make sure that you include that. It's kind of like Brian, he did his health thing. He had a great looking health bar, but I never saw it move. So I'm not sure that it was exactly working. Make sure that you're showing these things functioning and working properly as you turn them in. Okay, I'm gonna hop out of there. That pretty much sums that up. Let's minimize this. Let's hop over to web design and sending it. And here we go for web design. I wanted to show you another resource. Yesterday we talked about the YouTube Carousel, and I walked you through some steps, gave you a link of where you could get an example of the source code, all of that stuff. It's a great resource. Definitely use that. If you want a different kind of resource that shows something very, very similar, this guy is very talented with coding, far better than I am. So I feel good about showing you his stuff here. Let me go ahead and put this up to full screen. Okay, this is an example of creating a Netflix carousel. Okay, but I've been actually messaging back and forth with this guy, and he uses images in here in his carousel, just like Netflix does. And each image reflects is representative of a different movie, obviously, and each of them is actually linked up to different places. Now, if you wanted to, he said all you would have to do is swap out the images in this tutorial with your YouTube iframes. And apparently that would work exactly the same way. And this is, I mean, this looks really nice. It's super stylized. You can see that he can scroll through here. When he actually goes in there, it's got the actual pop-up view. So if I hop in later here, he demonstrates that as well. So you can see all the animation is on there, just like YouTube. It looks really nice. This would be another way definitely to do this. I've got the description, I've got the link in the description below. If you want to take a look at this and give it a go, he does walk you through all of the coding that you have to create for the HTML, and he also walks you through all of the CSS so that you've got all the different steps. The one thing that's challenging is he moves pretty quick. Okay, he's a professional doing this. He does this for his main job. So a lot of this stuff he makes assumptions on that you understand what's going on. It may take you a little bit to look at it and put two and two together, but it's another resource that's very good, and the result looks very good as well. So I wanted to point that out for web design. Definitely take a look at that. I think it would be worth your while. Again, the link is in the description of the live stream for today. Excellent. Let's hop on out of there. And that's going to take me over to game design. And with game design, we've been, let's see here, let's switch this over. For game design, we've been looking at building our game. That's our end game for this week, is to completely build out our 2D game. Yesterday, I gave you all of the requirements of what's involved with that game, multiple levels, start screen, pause screen, a win screen, health system, obstacles, all that kind of stuff. Again, that's on Schoology. You can take a look at the PDF there to make sure that you're meeting all those criteria. But one of the things that I briefly mentioned yesterday is when you build your game, you should really test stuff out and take some time to do that. So if I hop in here and I'm going to test out some of the stuff that's in my game. I've got my full game here. First thing, I'm going to go up to File, and I'm going to go to my build settings. So I go up to File, go to build settings, and the very first thing that I'm going to make sure of in my build settings is that all of the scenes that I need are actually in here and ready to go, and that they're in the proper order. Now for testing this, all I would do is I would come in and I can check, where is it here? I gotta look for this. There is a way to build this as a windowed setup here. No, default Mac OS server build. It might be now in player settings. Might have to go into player settings and check that out. But there is a way that I can actually build this so that I can play it in the window. There's my splash screen. I'm just spitballing this on the fly. Let's see here. Audio, editor, graphics input, physics, text mesh pro, quality, and shadow mask. Oh, come on. There's got to be a way to do this. In the old one, you can actually just check. You could just check a box so that it would actually open up into a window mode. And then what that would allow you to do is test it a little bit easier so that you can see. I'm going to look into that to see, but the main thing here is that we want to do the testing. I'm going to show you the window thing tomorrow. I'll have to look up where they moved that to, which is kind of annoying, actually, that they moved it. Right, but I can go ahead and build and run, and then of course I'm going to be testing all of this out step by step through all of this. So after I do my build, I'll get my executable file. Keep saving that to your desktop, and every time you do a new build version, this is where different versions come in. You can update it, but go through and do all the testing on all that stuff. So when I get in there and actually do the build, all right, and I replace here. And this is kind of nice because you see what your camera is doing, you see what it looks like on full screen, and all of that. I'm going to save this to my desktop. It's building it out. When it's done, it'll open it up here and actually run it so I can see my splash screen. That was one of our earlier episodes that we talked about is, hey, create your splash scene, make it unique, make it relate to the game. You can check out your menu, make sure that that does exactly what you want to. By the way, one of the coolest menus that I've seen so far, Gus has been working on audio, and he did an awesome job of creating this actual working menu for the sliders. So if anybody wants to reach out to him to see how to tie the volume of your audio to the slider, I would say contact Gus from class. Make sure you talk to him about it. And then after I'm done testing all of this stuff, seeing what it looks like, I can hop in here and then start walking through all of the level to make sure that it actually works the way that it's supposed to. Okay, so, and play it through all the way. Look for little glitches. I know a lot of you are using tile maps, and one of the things with tile maps that it really reveals is like this kind of stuff right here. Okay, these are not meant to go together. They don't look good when I move. You can see the background through them. That's something that I would go back in and I would fix to make sure that it's 100% right. Little annoying things like that that you can go in and work. Same thing here. These are not the same as these, so I would link those up there to do that a little bit differently. Look for different patterns on your grid, all kinds of little nitpicky things. And then test everything out as far as like being able to jump through everything. Make sure that you can't jump through stuff that you're not supposed to be able to jump through. This is a big part of the testing is running it over and over and over, make sure that it's all good. Check your game over, make sure that that works, that you can come back in here, all of those different features. But take some time to test it. Worst thing is when people turn in the games at the end and you can play through only a portion of it because it's broken and it's not even completed. And again, this is supposed to be a multiple level thing. That's a big part of the requirements here. And being that it's a summative, put the time into doing it right. Okay, excellent. That's going to wrap it up for game design here. Just a couple quick notes, and then tomorrow I'll be sure that I cover how to do the windowed thing, because right now what I have to do is I have to do a Command Q to get out of my game, and then I can hop out of there, and that gets a little annoying because with the window I can kind of move it around. Excellent. And that wraps that up. Let me get out of there. Let's try that again. And minimize this, which takes us over to video production at this point. All right. We're doing like a week in quarantine. The biggest thing for you guys is to not wait. Get out there and record right away. Even if it's small segment here, small segment there, you record just twice in a day, that's fine. You know, pick different times to record, like maybe your morning schedule, things like that. But the big thing is just get out there and record something. All right. You've always got your phones with you anyway. It's pretty easy to take your phone out, record, do a little bit of that, talk about your day. You can do it in whatever format that you want. There's a lot of different vlogging styles now. But I'm going to go over to a resource here. Obviously, we all know Casey Neistat, but one of the things that was unique about him when he really first started vlogging is he started off as like a 365-day challenge. Like, hey, I'm going to vlog every day for 365 days. And then it turned into, hey, I'm going to vlog for a whole nother year. And that was kind of like just his way of motivating himself to get things done. So take your phone with you. Just take it out, hit record, do some different stuff. I've got the link to this video in the description below because one of the things that he talks about in here is his vlogging style, and some of the things that he includes. He talks about his formula. He talks about early days of his vlogging versus now what he's doing, when he was still vlogging before he sold his channel and all that stuff. But he's a great resource. Whatever you may think of Casey Neistat, he's somebody that did go out there and do it, and he worked hard for quite a few years, putting a lot of videos together. And he's definitely got the experience to draw from here for vlogging. And I know that may not be everyone's cup of tea, is this style of video, but there is definitely some skills to it, and you can definitely still be a storyteller in this vlogging style. No matter what it is that you're saying, you're still telling stories as you go through your day and showing different things. And that's what I kind of like about this particular one is he talks about his formula and how it's really become more of not just a linear, hey, here's my day, I'm waking up, I'm having breakfast, going through the steps, to more of like it's telling a story on a day-to-day thing. And sometimes he talks about how his vlogs are actually thematic as well. So take a look at that. And get some ideas from it, and don't wait, start shooting now. Okay, that's the main thing that I've got to say to video production. Your deadline is on Sunday of this particular week. That gives you all Monday through Friday to kind of shoot footage, and then you can kind of put that all together, edit it in Adobe Premiere, and then export that as an H.264, and then upload it to Schoology. Okay, and keep in mind it's a vlog that's going to be shared with me as well. So don't put yourself in any compromising places or positions or situations. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right, excellent. That's going to wrap it up for video production. Takes us over to digital media. Okay, in digital media, we are in GarageBand right now. Let me put this up to full screen, and I've got a couple reminders for this. We are working on a stinger pack. And the idea of the stinger pack is that we're creating quick bursts of music that are going to be used for productions, whether it's audio production or video production, live streaming, something that's edited, wherever it may be used. But the main thing is that they are set on very specific time amounts. So 15 seconds, 30 seconds, and 60 seconds are kind of the going rates for all of the stingers that you have to create. Now, I noticed that a lot of people have been turning in songs and they're saying that it's a minute long, but what they've been looking at is they've been looking at the beats of the project. Okay, so they're talking about like 100 beats, which is up here. Okay, and if that's in 4/4 time, that starts to add up pretty quickly, and the songs tend to get very long if you are measuring the songs like that. So up in the top part here, where you've got your actual measurement tool for beats, time, whatever it is, make sure you switch that over to time, especially for this kind of project. Okay, so now it's at time, and you can see it was at however many beats, and now we're up to 34 seconds already with this particular song. Okay, and then that takes me to the last thing for this. When you are creating things for audio, audio production, video production, live streaming, and there's a set time that's on them, so if they're supposed to be 15 seconds, 30 seconds, or 1 minute long, they have to be exactly that, because that's what everybody is expecting when they're using them. So right now I've got 34 seconds of music, and if I export this, it's going to be a lot more than that, actually. My file is going to be, well, let's see here. If I scroll over, my file is going to be closer to a minute. And the reason I know that is all the way up here in the top right corner, I do have my viewfinder where I can zoom in. I can crunch down my project or stretch it out depending on what it is that I'm doing. But over to the right here, you can see my end marker. And the end marker is what, when I export the song, what it's going to export to. So I may only have 34 seconds of music, but it's going to export all the way to this end marker. So long story short, take the end marker, move it in here to exactly where it's supposed to be to wrap up the song. So now I've got 30 seconds. By the way, the more you zoom in on this, the more you can come in and you can fine tune that end marker. So if I zoom in like I just did, now I can come in and I can be more specific right down to the milliseconds here of where this is going to wrap up. So I'm at like 0.005 for 30 seconds. That is pretty stinking close. That works. Okay. If your stinger's only supposed to be 15 seconds, we take this in, and within this 15 seconds of music here, I make sure that I've got it exactly planned out the way that I want. And again, if I zoom in more, I can fine tune this so that it is exactly what I'm looking for. So I can zoom in like this even more, so we're getting more specific. Project gets pretty long here, and then I can go in here and fine tune this right down to exactly, that's pretty close, 15.001. All right, so I just wanted to point those two things out to digital media because I've already got a few stingers from some students that have already they've created a few of them and they've already uploaded them to Schoology, and I looked at the times and they don't match up at all. Like they're all over the place. It's supposed to be 15 seconds and it's like a minute 5 seconds. So be very specific with this kind of project on the time. Make sure that it matches exactly. All right, that was a lot for just showing those two things. My apologies. All right, well, that's going to pretty much wrap it up for today. The last thing that I'll conclude with here is just a quick reminder that we are on Google Meet. If you need, and let me switch this over here so that Casey Neistat's not being distracting, right? And there we go. If you need to work on anything whatsoever, hop on Google Meet. I'm on there from 11 to noon. Okay, the link is on Schoology. I posted it a bunch of times. I keep reusing the same link, so just hop on there. And then if you have any other things that are going on where like you can't meet from 11 to noon, that's fine. That's not my only office hours. I'm available throughout the entirety of the day. I was on with someone just the other day at 8 o'clock at night. They were really struggling with their web design. We hopped on, we were working through some issues. So they just messaged me really quick on Schoology or in Gmail. And then I said, hey, you available now? And we just hopped on there and we went through that stuff. So I am definitely available for those different questions. If you are interested in working on it, I have every interest in helping you with it. So again, that's Google Meet. And if you have any questions, reach out to me. Excellent. Well, thanks for joining us for another episode of Red Hawk Media's Virtual Academy. And this has been day 18. All right, we're wrapping it up here and sending it.